1966 Popular Mechanics in the Drivin' with Dan section. Walter Eastman writes in to ask Dan Gurney, what's the best all-round street track sports car you've ever driven? To which Gurney simply replies, a GT350 Mustang. Guess what we've got with us today? Let's see if Gurney would be just as simple and just as positive in his endorsements. Mustang to create the GT350, but one of the most obvious changes you can spot from the outside is the whole front clip. See, they pushed out the front track on the wheels almost 1.5 inches. As a result, the bodywork has to reach out to cover it. You've got different fenders and a different hood than on any other Mustang. Now, on top of the GT350, you've also got the very rare R model. Only 2 seats, they lose the back. Carbon fiber wheels, extraordinarily unusual. A magnetorheological adaptive suspension that's standard on the R, optional on the 350. And ideally, you'll order it the right way. No radio, no air conditioning, no rear carpet. You can spot one by the red grill badge. Now, we've seen the insides of the new Mustang before, nothing dramatically different there, a couple of additional gauges, 3 choices of gearbox for the rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, manual 6-speed, or 6 on the floor. Learn to drive it, that's your only choice. Here in the head unit, you can have a basic display radio like we have here, or you can go all the way up to their latest Sync 3 touchscreen system, or all the way down to a stripped R, as I mentioned, with nothing there. No radio, no AC. And here's your drive mode selector on the steering wheel. Other Mustangs put it as a toggle down here. It's able to harness all these different drive modes you see on the dash, but unlike other Mustangs, it can also roll in an adaptive suspension as part of its mix. This is the first Ford ever to have that. Now, whether you get a 350 or a 350R, you got the same mill, a 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. No turbo, no blower, nothing like that. 526 horsepower, that's nearly 102 horsepower per liter, a number called specific output. And in this case, it's the highest one Ford's ever posted without a turbo or a blower involved. The red line is 8250, peak horsepower occurs near that. Compare this to a Camaro Z28, which uses a much larger 7-liter engine to get a lower 505 horse, and only 72 horse per liter, though it does make more torque. And it uses technologies like low-friction design for internal resistance, free-breathing heads and valves, lots of lightning. They took away as much weight as they could. We've heard all that before, to be honest. What you probably haven't heard before is deep in the heart, something called a flat plane crank.
A crankshaft has counterweights at 90 degrees offset. What a flat plane crank does is changes that 90 degree to 180 degrees. The engine fires from bank to bank, and you get better exhaust scavenging. So one cylinder doesn't disrupt the flow of the next cylinder.
Some say, oh, it's a flat plane crank. Maybe it's going to sound like a Ferrari. Yeah, like a Ferrari in a denim jacket with a Marlboro and hopped up on meth. What I love about this vehicle that I noticed immediately is it is the godson of Boss 302, my favorite modern Mustang ever. Light, crisp, muscular, but not steroidal. That's my kind of Mustang. Utterly and completely drivable every day. Some people are going to find it not hard-edged enough, not feeling special enough, but I would consider them to be purists without a cause.
Now, I focus on the GT350 in this story today because it's going to be a lot more accessible. The R is going to be extraordinarily low production as far as we can tell. And the 350 does most of what you want at a nice price, psychologically. Comes in under 50 grand with delivery, but then you've got this very difficult decision to make. You can get the track package for $6,500, which gets you the adaptive suspension, heavy-duty front springs, the drive control, a spoiler in the rear, a tower brace, and heavy-duty coolers. Or the tech package, which also gets you adaptive suspension, heavy springs, and drive control, but then adds infotainment, like a better audio system, Sync 3, power seats, and voice-operated nav. $7,500 for that. If you're curious, an R adds about $13,500 to either configuration. I'd go with Tech Package, and that gets you to about $56,200 out the door. That's a pretty good value for a car that has such track prowess and such nice street manners, which is becoming the theme in the high-performance market. From McLarens to Challengers to Camaros, most cars that are super brawny realize they also have to have clean fingernails.
More cars driven CNET style. Standing by now at cnetoncars.com. Click on the road.